guys, it's John and Morgan with Longhaul Lifesavers, and welcome to today's episode, and we have a couple special features.
Today we're going to be talking with Mike and Ann with our basic essentials, and they do a lot of boondocking, so they've done solar panels and really all sorts of updates on their RV, and they put in is it a MiniSplit?
Yes.
It is a MiniSplit air conditioning unit. So we've took off the roof units and swapped it out with a residential MiniSplit so that we have even more freedom on the road, and we are not anchored to RV parks or campgrounds anymore. So it lets us boondock and see and go pretty much anywhere we want to.
So today we're going to give you an in-depth look on how they installed this, how efficiently it runs, how their solar panels work, and give you a better idea of how they live off-grid.
And if you have questions about boondocking, these are the two to talk to.
Yep.
They need their own YouTube channel.
Right, yes.
And we will be your #1 followers.
So we did, during the quarantine, we basically quarantined in the middle of the desert in New Mexico, completely off grid. We had no connections whatsoever.
No power, no water.
And actually
we had lots of sand and lots of wind.
about every 10 days, Mike went and got 3 water bladders of water. So that's like how off grid we've been until coming here to
and
get
live
cleaned
comfortably.
up. Yeah.
Pretty much
And
like we're
so
plugged in.
How many gallons was that?
Our rig has 110 gallons of fresh water on board. We've gotten rid of our toilet and replaced it with a composting toilet, which means that we don't have any water to flush, so that helps us conserve water. And so that 110 gallons, we would augment that. We have a big 60-gallon water bladder. Imagine a Camelback big enough that it would cover all 4 of us.
Right.
We'd fill that up, and I would use my spare water pump to pump that into our rig. So we actually, that 3 months, we never moved our rig when we were off grid. We would just go pick up it was 3 trips round trip to get the 60 gallons. So 2 bags would go in, and the 3rd bag would sit. It'd sit idle in the back of the truck for about 5 to 7 days. And
7 days.
when we ran out, that's when we would pump that in. And so it was about every 10 days. And on that day where we do water, that was everybody gets a shower.
Right.
We did laundry,
We hand
wash. So it was like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome though.
And that's the day you guys slept in the same bed together, because you could you didn't have to smell the body odor, right?
There are a lot of French baths going on. Okay, so with our AC unit, this is the outside portion, and what you can see is in the outside door, this is the front of my 5th wheel, I've cut out the place for the air to actually come out. So if I open this up, this is the outdoor unit. Essentially, this is a heat exchange system. So just like a normal residential house, this is where most of the work is actually happening. I did a few things. They don't come black. I painted it black so it essentially disappear, kind of like the grill in a car. But this spot that you're looking at, when we bought our RV, it had a 5,500 watt generator on board. It was awesome. We'd fire it up. We could run the AC all day on it. We could do whatever when we were boondocking. The thing we didn't like about it was we had to listen to a generator all day. So part of our whole boondocking lifestyle was figuring out how can we be off-grid and live quietly and comfortably. So in this case, we sold our generator. That's the spot that this now occupies. The underneath down here, this is cut out. So the air is sucked up actually through the bottom, is blown through here, and this is where the heat from inside gets exchanged out. So I'm actually sitting in a nice warm breeze as this is blowing through. Now, I said that we had a 5,500 watt generator. Because we have so much solar, and we'll talk about on the roof, we have 2,400 watts of solar. So our generator was essentially only being used as a battery charger in emergency situations. So by selling the really big, expensive, heavy 5,500 watt generator, we downgraded to a little tiny Harbor Freight Predator. It's a 2,000 watt generator. It works great. It essentially is our backup battery charger if we run into several days of cloudy weather and we're not able to bring in a solar charge. Works out really great. We lost a lot of weight. We got a lot of functionality and a lot of comfort along the way. Now, the heart of any off-grid solar system is really your battery bank. A good way to think about your battery bank it's like your gas tank. That's where you store and hold all your energy. So it doesn't matter necessarily how many watts you have on the roof, it's how big your battery bank is. We opted to go with Tesla batteries. So what you're looking at there were 2 batteries out of a wrecked Tesla car. There's 16 in the car, we bought 2 of them. The equivalent of those batteries, if I were buying Battleborn lithium batteries, I would have to buy 9 to 10 Battleborn batteries to fit into that same size and space as that Tesla battery. Would pretty much be almost impossible for us. So they're great. They're really affordable. They are about $1,000 a piece, whereas Battleborn, for the equivalent, we would have had to spend $9,000 to $10,000 in batteries alone. So it's a great way to do that. Now, there's some disadvantages to it, way beyond the scope of what we'll talk about today, but the advantages: super small, compact. They're 33 inches long, 11 inches tall, 3 inches deep. There are 2 of them. Each one weighs 55 pounds. So that's 110 pounds of battery. If I were doing lead acid batteries, would have to be somewhere in the range of probably 15 to 20 lead acid batteries, depending on the brand you had. And so you're talking about extremely compact way of storing all the power. And that power is how we're able to power our AC unit, whether we have great sun or whether it's a cloudy day or whether it's overnight. So if your batteries are kind of acting like your gas tank to hold and store all that energy, the solar panels, that's how you collect energy to put into the batteries. Or in our case, we have so many solar panels, we're actually able to charge up our batteries while we're simultaneously filling up and using it in our rig. So a lot of times during the day, our AC is running directly off of all these panels. What you're looking at, there are 12 panels total, 200 watts each. So we're looking at a total of 2,400 watts of solar. Now, one of the really big advantages of having a MiniSplit is I don't have rooftop ACs. So what that means is where that big bulky AC unit used to be, I've now replaced it with a skylight, and that means that I have tons of roof space for all these solar panels. And most importantly for solar panels, I don't have shading issues. I don't have a big AC casting a shadow over my panels, which effectively turns them off. All right, so we're inside our rig, and this is where really the magic happens of the AC. We've been here all day, we've been boondocking, unplugged, and just running our AC off of our solar panels and battery. And when we were talking earlier on the roof, how we have a slick roof, we don't have rooftop ACs. One of the things that we did is we replaced one of the rooftop ACs with a skylight. And when we replace it with a skylight, this has been a game changer. We absolutely love it. It brightens up the place so much. Now, this also brings us to the inside unit. And this is where the cold air comes out. Now, it's a heat exchanger, so in the wintertime, this actually will become a heater as well. So right now, summertime, today was high 90s. We've been running it, let's see, it's at 71 degrees right now. We were running around 75 earlier in the day when we were trying to conserve some energy. But the way this works, this was essentially just mounted to the wall. And let's see, I don't know if you can see it or not, there are a few pipes that run out of the side. Those 2 pipes, there's one in and out, and it essentially cycles the coolant through the system. And as it sends that coolant out to the outside heat exchanger, the heat inside is pushed out that fan, it's cooled, it's sent back in here, and the cool air comes out. And so installing it was definitely not plug and play. So I would say that it's not an install for the faint of heart. If you have an AC on your RV that's going out, that was our case. We decided to go this route because we knew that this would be a really efficient way to run. If you have an AC and you're not really technical, or you're trying to just save money and do plug and play, just replace the rooftop AC you have. In this case, I had to pull out walls, I had to run that copper tubing down through the walls, through the belly of our rig, out to the front. And so this is literally probably days and days of work, a lot of head scratching, a lot of problem solving, lots of trips back and forth to the Home Depot. But as far as actually doing the install, it's straightforward. If you have basic mechanical skills, you can do it. The hardest part was just retrofitting this into an RV instead of a normal house. Because normally this just goes right out the wall and the unit sits right outside from where this is. But because of all the routing we had to do, it got a lot more complicated. Now when we talk about efficiency of this system, one of the main draws for a MiniSplit, they are super efficient. If you think about your RV AC you have today, it works like a switch. It's either on or it's off, and that on-off is a really big heavy load on your electrical system. The way that this works, it's a slow ramp up, and so when this first turns on, if I watch the numbers on my solar system, it'll draw about 200 watts, and it'll slowly ramp up to about 300, 400, 500, 600 watts. And if we start it when the day is cool, it'll usually back down to about 400 watts. And so just maintaining temperature, it'll draw about 400 watts continuously. So it doesn't switch on and off, it just slowly ramps up and ramps down how much power it uses. Now, if it's a really hot day, or we've let our rig get hot and we're trying to cool it down, this will go into its turbo mode, where at most it'll draw 1,000 watts. So if you think about how much solar we have on our roof, we have 2,400 watts. Max this is going to draw is 1,000 watts. Now we also have a refrigerator that we run off of our solar panels as well. That draws about 400 to 450 watts. So we're still well within that range. So during the day, we actually have enough excess to run our AC, run our refrigerator, run our whole rig, and there's enough leftover solar power coming in that we're able to fill up our battery. Now it's getting close to the end of the day. We are now running off of our batteries. So there's not much solar coming in. If I look at my phone app and pull up and see how much is coming in, it's probably about 50 watts at this point. So it's a little trickle. So now everything is running directly off of the batteries. Equipment that I'm using to run my system is all made by a company named Victron. If you've seen any of the stuff, all of their equipment is this nice, pretty blue color. And what we're looking at is an interface on my phone that lets me see how much shore power is coming in, which is zero shore power. We're unplugged. Currently off of my roof, I'm pulling in 39 watts. I'm actually bringing in less than 50 watts right now. Earlier in the day, this was up to almost 1,500 watts coming in. And we can see from that power, my inverter is taking my battery power, which is now at 70%, and it's drawing 882 watts from the battery. Some of that, about 70 watts, are going to run all my lights and all my DC power. The rest of it's going to my inverter. And so my inverter is currently, right now, it's running both my AC unit and my refrigerator. About 750 watts. Most of that is the refrigerator. The refrigerator pulls about 450 watts. So that means right now, to maintain my rig and the temperature in here, it's running at about 300 watts. So this is that example of that in the MiniSplit really ramping up or ramping down how much power it's using depending on how much heat it needs to remove from the system. So this is one of the reasons we really love it. It's a really efficient way of working. They're way more efficient than what you would see in your normal AC unit for your rig. The unit that we have is made by a company called Sindel. There are a lot of these companies. Pioneer is probably first of mine. Fuji is pretty much the Cadillac version. This is one that we bought on Amazon and had shipped directly to our house. Now, specs on this is a 12,000 BTU unit. It replaced our 15,000 BTU unit that was on the roof. We also removed the AC unit that was in our bedroom that was a 1350. And so this one unit has actually replaced both of those. So this allows us to cool both rooms, which used to take 2 ACs with just one. Now, the ratings on this, it's a 19 SEER rating. You can get these up to 21 SEER. So that is the efficiency rating of how well these things work. They beat the pants off of any of the AC units that you're going to find on your standard rooftop AC. Those things, yes, they will cool, but yes, they'll use a lot of energy, and they also use a very hard start where they turn on or turn off, which if you're running an inverter is very hard on the system. Also too, if you happen to be boondocking, great. If you happen to be staying somewhere and you're doing monthly, one of the things that we love, we can actually get a monthly site where we're charged electrical separate from our space, and guess what? We just boondock electrically, and if we need to, we'll occasionally plug in and pull a little extra power from the post if we need to. In fact, that's what we did this past winter. We wintered in Taos so we could go snowboarding. We rented a monthly site, and we would just occasionally plug in every few days when we needed to in order to bolster, if we had a few cloudy days, for example, we would just plug in instead of running our generator. But we had a really, really low power bill for our monthly site because we were able to take advantage of our investment in solar and our battery system. Since we're cooling 2 rooms with this one unit, and this unit is designed to cool a 350 to 750 square foot space. So we had to get creative because we're really cooling 2 rooms. These are designed to work in 1 room. So what we did, I cut a hole in the wall. 2 computer fans. These are 200 millimeter fans. They are designed to draw about 120 cubic feet per minute through there. And so what I did, cut the holes, put them in there. They are low wattage. They're 12 volt direct, essentially computer fans. They're super, super quiet. You probably can't even hear them on the audio here. The best part from a boondocking perspective, so for me to move close to about 250 cubic feet of air per minute, I'm only drawing 4 watts to do that. Super quiet. We leave that on at night, and that just helps actually circulate air through our whole rig. It actually keeps the whole place cool. This is going down on your permanent record. Why did we pick this over the standard one? And a big question is really, do you even need solar to do a MiniSplit? And no, you could be completely plugged in, have 0 solar, and install the MiniSplit. And do you want to talk about why we went with the MiniSplit over the normal one?
Because he wanted to, and I'm a good wife.
That's on record now.
Yes.
So
You're the best wife.
The standard AC, the Dometic AC, is super loud. It makes me absolutely crazy.
When it runs for hours.
I spend most of my time in the kitchen, and so the unit was right above my head all the time. And I couldn't hear myself think, much less talk to my children, much less hear music. It was really loud. The unit was dying a slow, painful death. We couldn't, even when it worked well, we couldn't cool the rig in hot temperatures.
It was always running.
It was always running. It was just, I mean, it was just.
How's it go again?
Yeah. And so when we were quarantined in the desert, it was hot, and we spent a couple of days at 102 and with no AC, and then finally ordered the MiniSplit and then got it in. So it was half the price of the replacement Dometic, and we had solar already, and we knew through a lot of research, or he did, that we could run it efficiently and effectively off of our solar. Now we can plug in, it could go into a normal electrical system, but we wanted it for our lifestyle of being able, a really important thing for both of us is to be off grid, is to not
freedom!
Yeah, having that freedom to live anywhere.
And it's quiet.
It's super quiet.
It is.
And it's super cold.
It literally is whisper quiet. So decibel-wise, it's on par with, if I'm talking this loud, this is about how loud it actually is. It's super, super, super quiet. So that whole grating noise, that problem went away. It's super cold, really efficient. And because of that efficiency, that allowed our solar panels to run it. Do you need solar for this? No. If you have solar, can you run it? If you have enough. Just like we talked about, if you have a big enough battery bank, your battery is acting like your gas tank. That gas tank can help run it. So in some cases, if you don't have a lot of solar and you have battery and you're boondocking, you might be able to run it for 2 to 3 hours in the hottest part of the day to get you over that hump into the cooler part in the evening when you can open the windows back up and enjoy the cool weather for wherever you are. Can you just directly wire this into your existing fuse box? And the answer is yes. So,
but I think he was asking about the wiring too. The wiring
well, absolutely. Okay. So the wiring, you can take the same wire. Now, with your current AC, the AC wire runs up through the ceiling to where the actual AC is. Will you be able to use that physical wire? No. But you'll be able to use the fuse box. So you'll have the fuse, you're going to disconnect the old wire that goes up to the roof, and you're going to run a new wire out to the outside unit. The outside unit is where all the AC power goes. There's a wire that runs back up to the inside unit that supplies power to the inside unit. So from a wiring perspective, it's actually pretty straightforward. It only needs a 15 amp fuse. At most, the most I've seen it draw is about 7 amps. So 15 amps is actually overkill. I could probably run it on a 10 amp fuse. So I just used the old 15 amp fuse from my old AC, ran a brand new wire out to the outside unit, and there's then, it comes with the AC itself is the power cord that runs the inside cooler.
We just did a video all about shit, so tell us about your shitter.
Okay.
Oh, do we know about shit?
Yeah. So
you tell the story about how we ended up with our current shitter.
With our composting toilet.
Yes, composting toilet.
Part of all that we've done is a lifestyle choice. Being able to be off grid, having the things that we do. The lifestyle choice is ultimately freedom. When Mike started talking about the composting toilet originally, I was like, no.
You're shitting me?
You're shitting me. Yeah. And I'm like, no, we're not paying at the time.
No pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I think we paid $960 for it.
Yeah.
It was like $1,000 toilet.
Yeah,
I'm like,
if you would have told me when we started this that I would buy a $1,000 toilet that didn't actually flush, I would have told you were full of shit.
Yeah, that basically I'm gonna poop in a human litter box that costs $1,000. You're crazy. But we were boondocked in a Boondocker's Welcome location outside of Death Valley.
Mother's Day 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
That's right.
I slept all night with the smell of raw sewage. And I literally wanted to throw up, and I didn't sleep. And I looked at Mike and I said, I don't care how much the freaking toilet is, get it now. So we ordered it while we were there and had it delivered to the next location, which was outside of Sequoia and Kings Canyon. It's probably been one of the best decisions that we've made. So when we were quarantined in the desert for 3 months, we had no connections because we use all gray water safe stuff. We just ran a garden hose out and our gray water just went into the desert.
We watered the cactus.
Yeah, and our poop is like a litter box and there's a positive airflow and you spin it so it dries. There's rarely ever a smell. And between him and my 2 boys, if we had a conventional toilet, I would not ever be able to have visitors. I would probably have to move out because it's that bad, because it's like someone slaughtered an animal. And actually I had asparagus the other night and my friend goes, oh, I bet your pee smell it. I'm like, no, because what we've done with our toilet, it goes straight down into the tank. It goes straight down the tube because there's no water. There's nothing to smell. The poop drops in one, the pee goes down into the tank, and there's rarely, if ever, a smell, which is a very beautiful thing if you live with, you know, people that are proud.
Yeah.
So
if you're not familiar, what it's called is a composting toilet.
We have the Nature's Head.
Nature's Head.
There's several different ones now.
Yeah, there are less expensive options now. You can get one that's probably in the $500 to $600 range. That's probably what I'd get today if I had to go shopping for another crapper. But a composting toilet, in a nutshell, instead of pooping and having it go into a black tank, instead you poop and it just goes into a container. When that container's full, you take the container outside, you put a garbage bag on it, you flip it over, you empty into the garbage bag, and you're able to go and throw that into a dumpster, just like you would a bunch of diapers. So a composting toilet is different from the standard RV toilet because instead of having a black tank where all that goes down, where the pee and the poo mix, when they mix, you get sewage. Sewage is gross. Sewage smells nasty. If you have an RV, you have a black tank, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen RV with Robin Williams in it, the scene where the poop goes everywhere,
yeah,
I've had poop in places that poop shouldn't be, right? The composting toilet has eliminated all that. By pooping in one place and having your pee go in another place, you never make sewage. I routed all the pee directly into our black tank.
So it comes with a container that people have to usually dump. Well, there's 4 of us, and so we were filling that at least once a day and having to dump it, and so he just routed it straight down into the tank.
So what this means is we used to have 1 black tank and 2 gray tanks. We were able to take our black tank and turn it into a gray tank. So now we have 3 gray tanks. That means we have 145 gallons of gray tank storage. So if we're boondocking somewhere where we can't actually dump where we are and trickle out and water the plants, then because it's not always appropriate, right? We have 145 gallons of storage for gray water. We can go 10 days very easily with that. And so we
don't take showers, but we can go 10 days, you know.
Maybe showers. But that black tank is now part of our gray tank system. And so I put an outside valve that allows me to close that, and all 3 tanks now equalize amongst themselves. So our kitchen, our bath, and our whole black tank all now filter in. So our pee goes into all of that. That gives us a ton of freedom. So freedom, if you haven't figured it out, is one of our favorite words. We have freedom from having to find a dump station. We have freedom from having to find a place to plug in. We have freedom from 90+ degree temps because we have a MiniSplit AC that allows us to live wherever we park it. So home is where we park it, and we don't have to find a campground, and we don't have to find an RV park. At the end of the day, this lifestyle is about being fiercely independent and freedom.
Yeah, and just a little side note too, he can dump the toilet faster than we can dump a black tank. So it's less time.
If you want to race, I'll race you.
Yeah.
I'll win.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's like 5 minutes.
Okay, so I have a question. What do you do with toilet paper?
Oh, so if it has poop on it, it just goes down in the thing.
Okay, so it goes into the toilet.
Because it
there's
helps.
a churning thing that mixes it all up.
We use coconut coir. Actually, I have a big brick of it over there. COIR, coconut coir, and we cut it up into bricks. We buy a big 10 or 11 pound thing, and that'll last us a few months, and 1 brick goes in there, and it starts off this small, and it hydrates, and it grows to, like, I don't know, 10 times its size. So that's the coconut coir that we use.
So this is enough for probably, what, about 2-3 months?
2 to 3 months. And so we buy that, and that absorbs all the moisture out of the poo, and so it's just like dog crap in the yard. It dries.
So it's like cedar chips for a hamster.
Yeah, it's kind of like
exactly.
It's
a human litter box.
It's a human litter box. Poopy paper goes in there, and then other paper we just fold, and it goes into the trash can.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I go to a normal bathroom and I wipe and I go to put the in the trash can, and then I get up and I forget to flush.
All right, so the last thing for guys, this is often a question. Can I stand up and pee with a composting toilet? No. You
could, but it makes
no,
splash. Yeah, it's a big splash. You don't want to.
No.
So my kid, both boys sit down.
When people go in and it's a dude, if you got to pee, you got to sit down like a girl, right? Get okay with it, because you know what?
It gives you freedom.
I can pee like a girl because it gives me freedom. Absolutely.
Well, no, he and the 2 boys, they'll disappear in there for like 30 minutes at a time.
When they just had to pee.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
You're sitting on the throne like you are.
I'm like, are you still peeing? Oh yeah, my bladder was really full.
Yeah. You know, I feel like the only people that can openly have conversations about pee and poop are RVers.
Roger that.
Have you ever noticed that?
Roger that.
Especially
you
on
can,
tanks.
especially when somebody's dumping their black tank and you can watch their poop come out and you're just standing there talking to them, having a drink or whatever. Yeah, like
Dude,
it's
you need to
normal.
chew your corn better.
Yeah.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. Hope you got some good content out of this. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And then also follow these guys on Instagram. We'll put their handle below. We're going to do it again.
Okay, alright, ready?
Alright.
This time with feeling.
Yeah, right.
Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And then head on over to Instagram. Follow us at Longhaul Lifesavers. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
That's what post is for.
I do that at every end of what. Bye.